Good day, I am Maricris and Dela Cruz from B.Ed 3A. Our topic for today is all about criteria in choosing appropriate assessment tool. First, let me start in our discussion by defining what criteria is. Criteria is a principle or a standard by which something may be judged or decided. Criteria is also known as the basis when judging or assessing someone or something. I know that we are all familiar on what criteria are all about or how it's look like because when we having a group activity, for example, there is always a criteria that serves as a basis in doing such activity. Let me proceed to the assessment methods. Assessment methods is the strategy or techniques, tools, and instrument for collecting information to determine the extent to which students demonstrate desired learning outcomes. Assessment method isn't anything that we use to assess. It could be strategy or a technique, a tool or an instrument that could help us to attain our goal. And always remember that it is important in the assessment process in choosing appropriate methods for collecting data. The selection of tools involves a process to obtain detailed information and to need to keep to the process feasible or means attainable and manageable as well. The most important aspect of choosing a method is ensuring that the method provides an evidence needed to determine the extent to which goals or outcomes has achieved. There are four considerations to examine when designing appropriate assessment methods that will reflect the established learning and activities. These are reliability, validity, standardization, practicality. Let me define reliability. Reliability is the extent to which a questionnaire, test, observation, or any measurement procedure produces the same result over a period of time. And when we say standardization, it establishes a set of precedents, therefore enhancing an assignment, test, or project's reliability. Validity. Validity is defined as the extent to which the instrument measures what is set of the measures. Teachers must identify the expected learning outcomes and goals of the course in order to appropriately assess a student's work. And lastly, the practicality. Practicality refers to the action of the assessment methods and its relevance to the overall learning goals in the course. It also addresses whether or not the workload for the instructor is reasonable. There are two major issues to consider when choosing an assessment tool. This is direct and indirect. Assessment tools can generally be placed in two categories, the direct and indirect measures. When we say direct, it measures are those in which the products or students' work are evaluated in the light of the learning outcomes for the program. Evidence from course, such as projects or specialized tests of knowledge or skills, are example indirect measures. And when we say indirect measure, its students' measure are not based directly on students' academic work, but rather on the perception, alumni, employers, and other outside agents. While both direct and indirect measures have their place in assessment, together form for the important holistic impression of the student learning. It is most useful to the programs to start with the direct measures given that it is there that the student achievement is directly evaluated. There are many different direct methods. These are number one, capstone courses draw upon the integrate knowledge, concept, and skills associated with the entire curriculum of the program. Take normally in the senior year, capstone courses ask students to demonstrate facility in the program's learning outcomes, in addition to other outcomes associated with the particular course. Within a capstone course, evidence of students' are learning may include comprehensive papers, portfolios, group projects, demonstration, journals, or examination. Number two, in course embedded assessment, students' work is designated courses is collected and assessed relation to the program's learning outcomes, not just to the course grade. As the capstone course, the product of the student's work need to be considered in the light of the multiple dimension to the learning outcomes. Products may be include final exams, research report, projects, papers, and so on. The assessment may be conducted at the specific point. Example of this is the introductory course and upper level course in the program. Third, standard, standardized tests. The educational testing service and the companies offer standardized tests for various types of learning outcomes, such as critical thinking or mathematical problem solving. Scores on tests such as the GRE or the Massachusetts Test of Educators Licensure may be used as the evidence of student learning. Fourth, locally developed tests. Faculty may decide to develop their own internal test that reflects to the program's learning outcomes. True locally developed to the test require work for the program's faculty in development and scoring. They are less costly to the standardized method or tests are often more meaningful if that they are focused more clearly on the extent learning outcomes. Fifth, portfolio evaluation. A portfolio is a compilation of student work that in a total demonstrates as a student's achievement of various learning outcomes. Portfolio can be created for a variety of purposes aside from program assessment, such as fostering reflection by students on their education, providing documentation for the student's job search or certifying students' competency. Portfolio created over the span of a student's academic career compared to those consisting to the student's work only at the end provide a basis of the developmental assessment. 6. Pre and post tests. One of the questions that comes up in the assessment is not only whether students can demonstrate the learning outcomes when they graduate, but how much of what they can demonstrate was actually gained during the time in the program.
Indirect methods. Number 1. Student self-efficacy. Students have a sense of their own competence. Student self-efficacy involves students rating their perception on their own achievement in particular learning outcomes. Research shows a significant, although imperfect, correlation between actual and perceived competence. What can be problematic are gender and demographic differences in accuracy of self-efficacy. Number 2, student satisfaction surveys. Given that the student satisfaction with the program or course is not a learning outcome, satisfaction may or may not relate to outcomes assessment, but satisfaction may correlate with other variables. For this reason, a common component of the assessment system is the student satisfaction survey. Such surveys may consider the extent to which students are satisfied with their interactions with faculty, with their introductory or advanced courses, or with their preparedness coming out from the program. Number 3, students' attitudinal survey. If learning outcomes include elements of appreciation or understanding of particular issues of concern, students' attitude can be measured as a part of assessment program. For example, informed appreciation for the arts may be assessed using an attitudinal survey.
Number 4. Exit interviews. Rather than assess a student's attitude, self-efficacy, or satisfaction through the use of survey, students may be interviewed directly in the individual or focus group setting. Such interviews allow a more true, free-form exploration of the issues through the use of follow-up questions that depend on the student's responses. Number 5. Alumni survey. The perspective that students have on their education may change significantly after time away from the school. Some learning outcomes lend themselves from naturally to question posed some time after graduation. For example, an outcome involving preparation for professional practice on the best be assessed after the students has graduated and have been employed in the job market. Number 6. Employer surveys. It is impossible that the sum of the students' knowledge and skills are evident to the employers who rely on their characteristics. Thus, some accrediting bodies either require of the encouragement programs to perform or assess through the major employers for the students. This may be range for the information as a basic as hiring data to site supervision or supervisor evaluations to detailed survey or the characteristic that the employers perceive in the program graduates. Advisory boards, anecdotal information, and placement data may be used in the place of formal survey. Number 7. Curriculum analysis. Accrediting bodies have the historical required institution to have document the information that the students are receiving and the content that the program delivers in its course. With the move toward learning outcomes, assessment programs are required to show that the students actually exhibit the skill and qualities that the program wishes to develop. However, a curriculum analysis may still be relevant and is often included in accreditation documents. For example, some of accrediting bodies may require the documentation of the number of hours devoted to a particular subject in the curriculum. That's all. Thank you.